Great.
So my pleasure. All my students, of course, I've been announcing to them. So my genuine pleasure having with us Mr. Kartik Khanna, who leads the HR team in learning and development for Taj Exotica Resort and Spa Goa, which happens to be one of the international capitals of tourism. When I say in terms of a property, because right from childhood, we have always heard of this name, Taj Exotica, and it means a lot. Anybody who has been to a hotel management institute literally feels like we should probably go and, if I may use a Hindi term, matha tek le us hotel ke samne. It's something like that. So it's a legacy unto itself, a Taj Exotica. But most importantly, Taj has come across as being one of the most Indian companies internationally. The very fact that Taj is an Indian hotel chain, the very fact that Taj has come out with flying colors, when everybody was trying to understand and copy West, you had an Indian brand which the West was trying to copy, and that was the Taj. The kind of luxury that Taj created, the kind of atmosphere, circumstances that Taj created was massive different from what the world was trying to create at that time. And that hospitality is what today presents to the world as Indian hospitality. So it's a real pleasure to have with us Mr. Kartik Khanna, who can tell us more about what Taj is all about. And Mr. Khanna, I'm sorry I'm speaking so much, but very honestly, I respect Taj a lot, simply because the kind of brand that it is. And also, most importantly, students, you would like to pay attention to this. When the entire world was running away from coronavirus, Taj, as a hotel, decided to come forward and help the government by saying that if you want to use hotels as a quarantine, we will do so. And for that, I believe entire Taj hotels deserve a huge round of applause. I know you can't clap right now, but it would be wonderful if all the students could just wave at the camera for Mr. Khanna. Mr. Khanna, I think all of us, it's from all of us, it's a huge sign of respect for you, sir. We really respect the brand that you represent.
Thank you, Samir. I think it's an honor and a pleasure to be working for such a brand and to be able to represent at a platform such as yours. So thank you for the opportunity. And like you said, there was a time when IHCL being a parent company and Taj being one of the luxury brand, IHCL has always set the benchmark in terms of hospitality and what it truly means, the essence of Atithi Deva Bhava. The guest is a form of God. And I think it's a very noble profession, first of all, to have an opportunity to serve another human being. And I always say this in all my sessions with even the young aspiring hoteliers, that you've chosen an industry or a field or profession where you are assuring another human being that you'll make them happy. And it's not easy to make people happy. And we all know that. So it's a challenge, and I think that's what makes this industry and this profession so interesting, that so many of us are still here and we love doing what we do. And no 2 days in the hotel industry are the same. It takes a different kind of DNA to survive here. Right? And having said that, to add to your point of IHCL coming forward to offer it hotels, I think that's the foundation that Tata's founded set for us, that the community, society, the nation comes first. And no matter what you do, whichever industry or profession or whatever your business you set up, it should be the society that benefits from it. And that's exactly what we've done, not only now, time and again, whether it was whether it's natural disasters, it's war, whether it is infrastructure, whatever it is, the Tatas have always come first.
Mr. Khanna, I'm sorry, I will ask you one more question, because as a brand, Taj is something, Tata's of course is a huge thing, but I'm quite literally focusing on Taj right now because all of my students are very interested in Taj. In fact, we had a short survey some time back, and all of my students, almost all of my students said that we want to work in a brand like Taj. And that makes a lot of sense, because Taj has Taj is connected not just with hospitality, it's also connected with patriotism a lot. So before you begin your session and tell us a lot about Taj, can you just give us a brief outline on how exactly should a student prepare for Taj?
See, I think first of all, again going back, Taj is a brand, just for the students to understand the brandscape. Taj is a brand of a parent company, Indian Hotels Company Limited, IHCL. And I think for anyone to fit into the, it's like putting shapes together. I'll say you need to be a good human being first of all for this industry. If you don't enjoy what you do, if you are not passionate about the industry in terms of whatever field you choose or whatever department you may choose, first of all, first thing comes is be a good human being, and everything else will fall into place. Second is be passionate. You should know your subject like no one else, because you are the one who's going to be representing all the brands, whether it is a Taj or Vivanta, and we'll come to that. You are the one who's the face of the brand in front of the guest. Companies and brands can only, we can all sit in our offices or in buildings, but end of the day, you are the one who's going to be in front of the guest. You are the Taj for them.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. I will not take much more of your time. I think it would be wonderful if you could tell us more about Taj and Taj Ness and IHCL as a whole.
Sure. So I'll share my screen. I have a small presentation. If I can just share my screen.
Mr. Khanna, just a second.
Yeah.
Mr. Khanna, if you could share the screen now.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So is my screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, friends, welcome to this session. I'm sure you'll have some questions at the end of it. So, some of the topics or agenda that I would like to share is a little brief about Tata's as a group, and of course about IHCL and our brands, the Tata values, and of course the Taj, what it stands for, and Tajness as we know it. So, shall we start?
Absolutely, Mr. Khanna.
Okay. So I'm clear and audible as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So to start with, as I was telling you earlier, to answer some of your questions, was that Tata's was formed on a foundation where our founder, Mr. Jamshedji Tata, set the foundation for us, where he said that in a free enterprise, the community is not only just another stakeholder in business, but it is in fact the very purpose of its existence. And today, what you see that Tata's IHCL or Taj, as you call it, is always in the forefront when it comes to nation building, helping the government, helping the people, the community. This is where it comes from. And throughout our history of more than 150 years of Tata's, we have stuck by it, and we continue to. A little about the Tata Group that some of you may already know. We function in more than 100 countries. We've always been the first in terms of pioneering. We set up the first steel plant, the first airline. Today, what you see, the Air India or Indian Airlines, was earlier the Tata Airlines. The first fully indigenous passenger car. If you, some of you can guess which car this was.
Nano, sir.
The Tata Indica. Okay. And then, of course, the first luxury hotel. Being hoteliers, would you know the answer to this?
Taj Mahal Palace.
Taj Mahal, which year?
1905.
All right, 1903. Okay, no worries. Right. So we have about more than 7 lakh colleagues, as I would say, across the globe in all the companies that we have. We have a group of 100 companies functioning in 150 countries. And of course, we are in right from to steel, to salt, to hospitals, to social welfare, to defense infrastructure, automobile, many. And there's a fun saying that we have that, within a 24-hour span, at some point or the other, you will come in contact with one Tata product for sure. You just can't escape. So whether it is some of our brands that you would know is Vistara, Tata AIG, the insurance company, Chroma, Land Rover Jaguar, IHCL that I represent, and of course we have a history of more than 150 years. Now we step into a little bit of about IHCL and its overview. Okay, like we said, it all started with 1903 with the legend, the Taj Mahal Hotel, Mumbai. A little trivia here for all of you to know. Interesting fact. Can you recognize this building that is there, the structure?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
India Gate.
Gateway of India.
Gateway of India. All right. So the Gateway of India was commemorated, 21 years later. That is in 1911 is when the King George and Queen Mary actually visited India, and it was 21 years later that what you see today is the structure that was constructed. So you can imagine that the hotel Taj Mahal Bombay was actually constructed and opened much before, 21 years before the Gateway of India. And this is what the city looked like back then. Of course, the Taj Mahal Bombay has been home to all the dignitaries of the world. Who's who and everyone who comes to India wants to visit, and it is on their to-do list to stay, experience the luxury, world standard luxury, at least once in their lifetime, and that's at the Taj Mahal Bombay. I have a little video here. I hope I can able to play it, and it is audio is on. The audio on. Right. Yeah. So, I'm not sure if the video played very well for everyone. Could also be because of certain network issues. What that video basically does, it takes you through, gives you a glimpse of all our brands, some of our iconic hotels, and what IHCL is all about, our philosophy, and what the future holds for us. Right? So our IHCL portfolio currently looks something like this. You can see the Taj brand that we all know and commonly associate IHCL with stands for our luxury division. Then we have something which is the recent brand, which is the Selections. This is a select group of hotels which come under the Selections by IHCL, and the unique proposition about each of these hotels is that they have uh, a location that is unique to it, the design, architecture, facade, interiors that is unique to it, and of course the cuisine and everything about that hotel cannot be replicated in the entire city. So an example of that very close to us in Goa itself is the Siddhadidi Goa, which right from the moment you enter, when you right from its entrance, lobby, paintings, location, cuisine, speaks everything about what Goa. And similarly, we have many such hotels across the country that would come under the select hotels. Then, of course, we have Vivanta, which is our upscale hotel, city hotels for the young businessmen, young entrepreneurs who are on the move. The recently revamped Ginger, which talks of lean luxury, which is for what we want is for even a middle class or a middle income family family to experience luxury with the same standards as a city hotel or luxury hotel of ours. Then, of course, all our other brands like Chambers, which is exclusive by membership only club, Amar Trails and Resorts, which is a homestay experience, a luxury homestay experience. Jiva, our brand of spa, our unique restaurants, which are as iconic as the hotels that they are in. Some of these restaurants are so famous that no one needs to ask which hotel they are located in, just the name is enough. Khazana is our retail outlet in luxury hotels, which takes care of CSR functions as well. It is an initiative to keep the handicrafts, Indian handicrafts, alive. Many of which may be dying because of the remote location they are in, or interiors, logistic issues. But the Khazana CSR team actually goes in and collects all these items and brings it to our city hotels. And we have Khazana boutiques in our all Taj hotels, and we promote Indian artifacts. And another brand of New and Now, which is our saloon at our luxury hotels, and of course the volume catering, Taj Sats, which is our airline catering units, which is I think second largest in the world in terms of volume and scale. Right? So, what do each of these brands stand for? Just take you through that. So, Taj, like I said, it will include hotels, resorts, safaris, and palaces. It is all about luxury. Selection, like I said, the hotels have to have a distinct character, right from their location, decor, and service, the cuisine that they serve. Vivanta is all about resorts and hotels, which are signature dishes. They have a sense of place. And Ginger Hotels is all about design and model to provide a refreshing and revived experience to the guests. So, under the Taj, you may have hotels, palaces, safaris, and resorts. So, these are some of our city hotels, Taj luxury city hotels like Taj Bengal, Taj Palace New Delhi, Taj Krishna Hyderabad, Taj Dubai, the Pier, Taj Hotel in New York, or the Taj Lands in Mumbai. Of course, some of our resorts, right from Taj Exotica Resort and Spa, Goa, to Taj Exotica Resort and Spa in Maldives, Bekal, Kerala, Dalview, or the Madikeri Kurg. Next come the palaces, the famous Umaid Bhavan Palace. This is also the only living palace where half the palace is still occupied by the royal family. And this hotel for 2 years in a row has won the TripAdvisor best luxury hotel in the world. And I say best luxury hotel in the world award. Right? So you can just imagine how many luxury hotels are there in Goa, then in India, in South in Asia, and then the world. And to win this award 2 years in a row. Next come the safaris. Of course, Taj Safari. These are 5 of our safaris that we have. These are national parks, which are operated by us in terms of we have 10 luxury tents and resorts within the national parks. So it's in Mahua Kotri, Bhagwan Panch, Pashangarh. Merul Sarai is our latest addition in Nepal, Panjatola in Ghana. The first 4 are located in Madhya Pradesh, whereas the Mughlai Sarai Chitwan National Park is in Nepal. Then come the selection hotels. So very close to home is Siddharth di Goa. Then we have the Savoy Ooty, the Blue Diamond Pune, the Ambassador Delhi, Pratap Mahal Ajmer, the Gateway Varkala, and President Mumbai. Sorry, I'm just going back here just to reiterate what is unique about a select hotel is that no two hotels look, feel, or have the same appearance in terms of design, decor, lobby, location, and the cuisine. Some of our Vivanta hotels in Damdama, Vivanta Panjim, Vivanta Dalview Srinagar, Whitefield Bangalore, which was the first Vivanta hotel, and then Vivanta Suraj Kund. And then, like I said, the latest facelift to the brand is Ginger, which is now a lean luxury. We now move to Tata values. To answer Sameer's question in the beginning, that what makes IHCL or Taj what it is, it's all about the family values, and I think it is true for all of us. We are who we are because of the circumstances that we were brought up in, the guidance of our teachers, parents, neighbors, friends, relatives, community, society, whatever you want to call it. Everything has contributed to what we are, and it all comes down to the values, and that's what Tata's has taught us. We are that Tata is our parent company, and that's what we learn from them. And the Tata stand for integrity, unity, excellence, responsibility, and pioneering. Just to take a minute each, integrity for us stands, of course, means doing the right thing even when no one is watching. And that is where it comes in. Whether it is a national disaster, whether it is nation building, whether it is a crisis, whether it is whatever the issue, a problem, a challenge, the Tatas are there first. No one, we don't wait for someone to ask us to step in or the government to request our help. We are always there. We volunteer to be the first to help the nation. Unity, and like you can see now as well, whether it is our hotels, whether it is our parent company, whether it is our automobile in the sister concerns, whether it is our airlines, whether it is any of our companies that include FMCG, we are all working together in these crises to ensure that we do our bit for the nation. Excellence, when we talk about excellence, there's a difference between excellence and perfection. Perfection, normally, if you achieve perfection, your thought process stops. You stop doing more. Whereas excellence is a constant endeavor to keep improving on the mission as well. Make it better, make it better. Always have that question mark in front of you and say, can we do better? What more? And I say this to all of you as students in terms of when you say, what can you do to join IHCL or Taj, or you want to work for these companies? What can you do? Strive towards excellence in everything, whether it is your knowledge, in academic knowledge of a subject, because that is what is going to differentiate between you and the person next, after or before you in that interview or on the shop floor. Right? You come from a hotel management institute where you've done 3 years or 4 years of graduation. You spend that much time studying about the industry and about the subject, and we expect you to know more than what anyone else coming into the industry does. Next value is responsibility. Like we said, you can see it. I don't have to say too much again and again about it, but you can see it all around you. The Tatas were one of the first companies to come out and contribute large amounts towards the nation in terms of fighting this battle that we are in. And our hotels have opened their gates to doctors and to for quarantine, as well as people coming from abroad. Our hotels are open to guests who could not go out and were left stranded in the country. So there are a lot of things that, as a sense of responsibility, that we do. And of course, pioneering. In the first slide itself, I showed that the company was set on the ethos of being the first. So whether it was the first steel plant, the first luxury hotel, the first indigenous car, to make your own car in India, we were always the first ones. Right. We next come to the Taj values, because IHCL is very commonly known as Taj. And what does Taj actually stand for? It stands for trust, awareness, and joy. So, what is trust? Trust for us is very simple. It's about being fair to each individual, for each person and each organization that is associated with us. It's about being open and transparent in what we do. Free flow of information. There's no point keeping everything to myself, because then it will only stay here. But when I start sharing, which we are doing right now as well, there's so many more people who gain from it. It's all about relationships. Trust. Relationships basically are based on trust. Without that, there is no. It's not a relationship at all. Next is awareness. Participative in our decision making, a sense of belonging. So, sharing of information, sharing of what the company is doing and why we are doing what we are doing, so that we all know we are all aligned and can work in the same direction. Now, this is very, very important. I personally feel this value of Taj says a lot about what differentiates Taj from other brands. It's all about passion, joy, not from achieving something in terms of monetary benefits or no, joy that you get from making the other person happy, from making your guest feel happy. That's exactly why the guest comes to hotels. They come there to be pampered. They want to be treated like VIPs. They want to be treated better than what they get treated at home. They want to come there and feel the king and the queen for the duration of their stay, or for that maybe even that one meal period that they're coming to. They come to hotels to celebrate. They want to be made to feel special. And when you, as a hotelier, are able to do that and genuinely see the smile on their face and in their eyes, if it makes you happy and makes you excited to come back to work the next day and do it all over again and again and again, that is the joy we are talking about. And if that is in place, then nothing can stop you from being a successful hotelier. Because end of the day, manager is a manager. So everybody can do that. It comes with experience. But passion and joy that you get from making people happy, and that's a profession that you've chosen, going out of your way to surprise people and to find different ways of doing it every single time, is what is really important. And I come towards the end, Tajness that we talk of, and this logo that you see of IHCL, it encompasses everything that I've been trying to say from the first slide onwards, is that we take everyone together, whether it is our guests, our shareholders, our colleagues, owners, partners, and our community. When we take everyone together, we keep their trust in people. We invaluable relationships, as in we value our relationship more than anything else. The emotional connect and the way we treat people, the way we behave with people. That's what Tajness is all about. And that's why we wear this maple pin, which signifies our commitment towards Tajness on our uniform with pride. Right. So that's the end of my first presentation. Sameer, over to you for some.
Mr. Khanna, Mr. Samir has just gone for a webinar. So I'm going to be there. So you will be taking another presentation with the students. This is Sangeeta.
Sorry, you're not audible.
Hello, Mr. Khanna,
Yes.
you can hear me?
Yes, tell me,
You
please.
can hear me? Yeah. Mr. Samir had just left for a webinar. He had to leave for a webinar.
Okay.
So the next, you will be taking the next presentation along with the students.
Okay. So I have just another few slides to share on, since some of you were keen on knowing what are some of the opportunities ahead.
Okay, fine. Okay. The same.
All right. So is this screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
All right. So for the benefit of all our young aspiring hoteliers, some of the things that you can look at as the new normal or post new opportunity that we look at post COVID-19. Uh, and since you still have time, you're still in college, you're entering a final year, you have a year's time to prepare yourself for this. The time to convert challenges into
क्या
opportunities.
बोलता है
And
मिस्टर
this
ने
is,
करना भी
hello, yes, am I audible?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So the new age skills and traits required post COVID-19. I think some of these are very interesting, and I can't take credit for this presentation because this has been compiled by some of my colleagues who have been working on some research. Okay, so first is of course all about being agile, being flexible, adaptable to and quickly embracing change and being spontaneous. Things are changing so fast, friends. Let me tell you, on a daily basis, you are all experiencing it yourselves. Uh, we keep hearing announcements and what's happening across the globe, and so we have to be open to such challenges. We have to be flexible. We should be able to adapt to such things, and more than anything else, we should not get bogged down by it because uh, there's always a positive side to things as well. The more changes happen, the faster it happens, the sooner we get done and over with, and we'll finally come to some form of stability, right? Rather than getting back on our feet and then realizing a few months down the line that, oh, then we missed out on something and we need to go back and restart. So it's better to let things settle and then come back and resume operations or come back to fight the battle better prepared. Next, of course, is all about innovation, being creative in business and operational practices. You know, hotels are also moving towards gadgets, technology, uh, touchless, contactless service. So there is a lot that's happening. I would strongly urge all of you to spend time online, not only on Netflix but also on websites, hotel magazines, hotel websites, news regarding technology for hotels, service industry, the new norms that are being issued. There are a lot of online courses, training certifications that you can do to use this time. There are many free courses, right? So please log in or check with your faculty, with your director for certifications that may be available free of cost or at a very nominal cost, even related to COVID. And many of them are being also done through government websites. So check in that, and I'm sure a year from now, these will be basic requirements and qualifications for anyone to come into the hotel industry. The third thing that we need to be prepared for and mentally change our mindset is that we all need to become safety and hygiene managers. We we won't have the luxury of people coming and cleaning the office space or our workstations for us. Our safety is in our own hands. Uh, while we may follow all the norms in terms of sanitizing and disinfecting, but I think it has to become a habit for all of us to clean our workspaces, our workstation, and sanitize ourselves as often as possible. And every time we come in contact with any guest or colleague. Of course, the next is sustainability, being able to work with limited resources. Like I said, technology is going to take over. This is just an example of how in-room dining is going to be replaced by robots in the future. And this was something which was said that could happen only many years from now. It will take 10-15 years for technology to come in, for people to get used to, or acceptance to come in, or for it to be feasible to purchase and procure. uh, Before you knew it, the time has already come, and hotels are already looking at such options right now. So there is already contactless in-room dining, and many SOPs are being worked around that food is once the guest places the order, the food is left outside the room. The guest himself carries the food inside, consumes, leaves it outside, and there is hardly any contact with the associate. Learning mindset, being able to reskill ourselves and our team based on new opportunities. So, like I said, it's all about skills, knowledge, and ability. So, you need to pick up new skills, and yeah, because right now also, I mean, normally we would have this session, say, at your campus, and I would probably be standing there in your auditorium, and all of you would be sitting there and be presenting this to you, and it will be a face-to-face interaction. But today the situation is such that we all need to now know how to use Microsoft Meet or Zoom or so many other platforms, and still get the work done. So all of us also who are so used to face-to-face contact are now moving to reskilling ourselves and our team. All our hotel meetings, office meetings are now happening from home, and we're all in touch with each other. But the best part is the work is still getting done. Yeah, this again, as the lockdown 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, I think we need to be more patient and resilient, being able to manage stress. Yeah, things are going to be different. There will be challenges. Uh, there are issues, like even for something as simple as a call like this, there are network issues. There will be audio issues. The video will keep buffering because we all have different bandwidths of the internet. So there are challenges. So what we need to do is have patience with each other, and have tolerate ambiguity, because we don't know, there are certain uncertainties in the world right now. But I'm sure it'll all work out, and it always does. Business acumen, being good with numbers and rethinking business. Yes, again, going forward, revenue management is going to become a major subject for all of us, because it's all going to be about optimizing. Those days have gone where one hotel was a leader and was always a market leader because of the past history and their achievements in the past. Today, what COVID has done is it has leveled the play field. All brand hotels, everybody will come down to the same level, and we will have to start from scratch. Right. So all your past achievements of best hotels or number one hotels or highest ARR and highest RevPAR and highest ADR, being number one in the city, in the world, in the globe, all goes away, and it will start afresh. Of course, guest centricity, being able to anticipate new guest expectations. So going forward, our guests are going to be very, very, very cautious of safety. They will all focus on safety first. They The good thing about hotels is that we were always very pro hygiene and sanitation. We always clean the room, the public areas. Our hotels were always spick and span, shining. We always had very strong uh, hygiene and sanitation audits and processes. So all we had to do is just take it up a little notch higher, and say that we increased the frequency of our sanitization, because hotels were always safe. So we need to bring that confidence back into the minds of our guests, and let them know that hotels were, are, and will continue to be safe for them, and they can comfortably come and stay with us. Stay in touch, be open in interaction with your guests, with your past uh, clientele who stayed with you and given you the opportunity in the past as well. Automated check-in, contactless. So many hotels are considering self check-ins or direct in-room check-in, with technology coming in, where you can just send the PIN on the guest's phone, mobile, and they don't even have to come to the lobby. They just go directly to the room, enter the PIN, and they can check into the room, right? And all this, of course, there are SOPs and processes that work back end of getting all the details, IDs, and payment and everything in advance. Be flexible. The customers would greatly appreciate a little leniency for hotels and cancellation. So yes, of course, in the immediate future, in the next few months, there could be challenges because people, every time they cross the border, they have to go into quarantine, and when they come back, they go into quarantine. So hotels would have to be a little flexible if there are certain guests who, at the last minute, want to cancel the bookings or want to book once they've successfully crossed the border and come into the state and are safe. So all these flexibilities have to come in. Interpersonal, being aware of the demonstrating soft skills in crisis. Yes, it's all about you know being being there for each other. You have to understand that we are all human beings, and it's equally tough for all of us. We are all going through a little bit of stress, uncertainty, but when it's all about just offering that shoulder or your ears just to listen to what people have to say, being empathetic, follow ethics when it comes to dealing with your team, and have trust in them. And I'm sure they will all be only too keen in tough times. The true metal comes out and people start shining, and they also want an opportunity to prove that they can be trusted and that they are an asset to the organization. Technology, yes, being able to leverage new age technology while dealing with stakeholders. So, like I said, you'll see even airlines and all now suddenly all those baggage counters have gone. Everything is touch screen. There is hardly any contact. There's so many videos all over WhatsApp and YouTube and news of how travel industry is going to change completely. So we should be able to leverage from that, which is a good thing because it will make life even better for all of us. And of course, multitasking. This is the way forward, and hotels are already working on this. We are relooking at it. There are major projects around this because what COVID has made us realize is that uh, we used to first believe in, we started moving towards specialization and having people who specialize only in one area, one field. But going forward, what we need are people who could multitask and cross function. So, just to give an example, someone who is in, say, front office should be able to help out housekeeping and F&B service as well, and they should be skilled and equipped to do that. Especially people coming from hotel management, you may choose initially to or say that you are interested in pursuing a career in food and beverage or front office, but when you join the hotel operations, there may be days when front office is busy, you may be required to come in and help with escorting and check-ins and baggage handling, and you should be able to do it without any issues because these are very basics of hospitality, right? And vice versa, if restaurant is busy, there's nothing that stops a front office colleague from going across and helping with escorting, seating, greeting, offering the menu, serving water. Something as simple as that. Same for housekeeping. Front office can go and help in making beds if the hotel suddenly gets busy, back to back, check-ins, and or releasing the rooms. So you have to start thinking on those lines and saying that what are the skills and what is it that I can bring to myself in the coming year, so that when the time comes for when hotels start looking, and they will be looking for the talent when they start coming back to colleges looking, because it's a matter of another 6 months or so when the hotel industry will start booming again, and we are all positive about it. We will need people, right? So that's the end of my presentation, of both my presentations. Like to end it that victory comes from finding opportunities in problems, and like we all know, necessity is the mother of invention, and that is exactly what is happening right now in our industry. So it's a very interesting time. I'm in a way, it is good that we've had this opportunity and this challenge, that we could all come out of it and feel good about it. Right. So I'm sure some of you has a lot of questions, and I'm open to that right now. So over to all of you.
Good evening, sir. This is Manasvi. I would like to ask, will the campus interviews be replaced with virtual interviews?
Sorry, you're not audible.
Excuse me, sir. Am I audible now?
Yes.
So this is Manasvi, and I would like to ask, will the campus interviews be replaced with virtual interviews?
Why not? Why not? It can definitely happen. We may look at different ways of conducting campus instead of group discussions and other rounds that we may have assessments that may test your uh, technical knowledge. We may have other activities that we can, in fact, even have a group discussion on Microsoft Meet or on a Zoom or any other platform that comes in by then to conduct these things. And of course, interviews can be conducted on online platforms as well.
Thank you, sir.
What else? Any other questions? Okay, so I'm just looking at the chat. So, do you think that the new joining hotel employees would be eager to join the industry given how the industry has suffered with salaries being cut? Okay, so Mikhail, right? So, Mikhail, it's a good question, but please understand that these are all temporary setbacks. Okay, and hotel industry is not the only one which has suffered. The entire country has suffered. Please understand this. It is you have chosen a profession, and I leave it to you whether you want to do justice to the 3 years, 4 years spent studying hospitality, and then because of one setback, you choose to take up another career path, and maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, when the industry is back to its glory and doing well, because it will. Because even now, I'll just come back to this point. You will 2 3 years later, you may feel that I did hotel management and today I'm doing something else, and I want to go back to hotels. You'll have to start from scratch. Having said that, if you don't get an opportunity in hotels right now, please be open to looking at the other options. But at the same time, don't completely give up or go away from your core subjects of hospitality, is what I can recommend. This is my personal opinion. Uh, yep. And like I said a few points ago, was that even right now, what we see is that people are keen and desperate to go on a holiday. They want to travel. They want to, at least, if nothing else, at least move within the driving distance. And that is going to be the future of tourism for the next few months or to a year. That where people may be wary of traveling by airlines or by trains because of the number of checks, the time duration required, that they now need to report 3 4 hours early, go through all those number of checks, number of documentation that they need to bring with them. People may just choose locations which are within a driving radius of say 500 to 700, 800 kilometers, where they can just maybe drive for 8 9 hours and spend a weekend and come back. So there is interest, there is still demand for leisure uh, hospitality locations. It is just a matter of the lockdown moving out, getting over with, and the government coming up with certain norms and rules so that we all know what is the way forward, and slowly and steadily industry will pick up. International tourism may take some time. Yes. And when I started my second presentation, I shared a quote by one of our senior members of the board, head of sales and marketing, where Ms. Basu, where she mentioned that ISCL had actually taken the lead some years ago on this, and we started targeting the domestic tourism much more, and that really worked in our favor in uh, IHCL as a company having the leading edge over others, while everyone else was focusing on international tourism, we actually started focusing on domestic market a couple of years ago, and that has worked to our advantage. Right. I hope I answered that question. Today, sir had a question about the introduction of single-use items. Won't reintroducing single-use glassware and silverware as an alternative at a time like this be of harm to environment? Yes. So I'm not sure if we can, especially I'm not aware of people wanting to use single-use glassware and singleware in luxury hotels or brands like ours, for the simple reason that we have sanitization and hygiene practices in place to disinfect and to reuse, and there are certain government norms and guidelines on this, and we definitely follow all of them to the T, and in some cases even more than what is just recommended. And yes, we have to be aware of what we reuse, and get carried should not get over the top carried away in doing things that we end up harming the environment, because this is a lovely opportunity that we've had to bring things back to as normal as possible in terms of pollution, environment, and nature. I don't think we should lose that opportunity in our endeavor to go over the board in terms of sanitizing. There are even some theories of where hotels are asking guests to carry their own cutlery and crockery. So I think that's a little too much. Welcome, Varun. Any other questions that you may have?
So this is Terence here. So I had a question that as you put it in the PPT, that robots will take place instead of human beings. So will it be a disadvantage for us?
So, sorry, I didn't get your name, but to answer your question, uh, has technology really been harmful? If I'm right, your question was that technology will take over, right? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. So tell me something. I'm just using an example here. Before smartphones or mobile phones came in, work used to still happen, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. But the challenge was that even to make a phone call, I had to wait maybe for a telephone operator or exchange guy to switch the lines and boards, or to get a telephone connection and then dial the number. I'm talking about way before your generation probably even saw those phones. But as mobile phones came in, and then mobile phones moved to smartphones, and slowly today our phones. I'm just giving example of phones. Everything is on the phone. You you don't need TV. Also, you can watch your all your programs on your phone. I'm just saying your conference meetings, everything is happening on phone. You can do your presentations, everything through phone. Has the work reduced or has it increased?
It has reduced, but there are some disadvantage also in phone, right? Because we cannot be full time on a phone. We need to have an practical knowledge also.
Correct. So I'm just sharing that you can't be all the time on the shop floor as well. You also need your rest, right? So we are not saying that technology will completely take away the human contact, because you still need people who will prepare the food, do the misa, receive the raw material, who will plate the food, who will put the food in the warmer, take it all to the room, or do the billing, to receive the guest, to make the guest room. So there are certain things which will not can't be taken away from the industry. We are only looking at technology where it will, instead of a human being going all the way to room, I'm just saying, to serve, to deliver a tray, that can be done by a robot also, right? Do I really need someone? Do I need to hire someone just to go and deliver food? to the room. Where that same person can be used in a beautiful fashion to do other things in terms of revenue management, or upselling, or handling a restaurant, interacting with the guests who are there. Who why not? In fact, the reason I use the example of the mobile phone was to reiterate this, that earlier it was difficult to get hold of people, or when we didn't have laptops. Once our office work was done, once you leave office, no one could contact you. Today, technology is such that you are available 24 hours and you are working 24 hours. So, I in fact believe that with the technology, the workload has increased. It has only made things easier in terms of people can be reached out to, and efficiency has gone up because now you can do what you need to do without even having to travel to an office space. You can do it from anywhere, your comfort zone. And I hope I'm able to help you with the answer there.
Yes, sir, totally.
All right. You don't sound very convinced, but okay. Any other questions?
So this is Manasvi again, and I would like to ask: are the employees using hydroxychloroquine or any sort of, a or a way of protecting themselves, like how the doctors or the other frontliners do?
So, if I'm right, you're asking what precautions are the hotel staff taking?
Yes, like are they using hydroxychloroquine or anything like that sort of medicine?
So, currently in Goa, as of now, hotels are actually shut in terms of they're not open to, as government has not allowed to open for business. So, there are not many colleagues in the hotel per se. Okay, most of us are operating from home, or on rare occasions we go to just check on the maintenance and upkeep of the property because it can't be left neglected. As far as taking safety measures, we are following all the protocol that has been recommended by the government, whether it is state or central. At the same time, it is for each individual to make sure that they follow the hygiene standards. And unless and until you are coming in contact with people who may be health workers or sanitation workers, or those who are coming in contact with suspect cases, I don't see why one should be taking medication as of now, because that has not been recommended or that has not been suggested. Unless you are a public figure and you are constantly out there, and you just want to build your own immune system. At the moment, I think if you just eat healthy, exercise, take care of your diet, and follow good, uh, healthy life style, you are safe for the most.
Thank you, sir.
Once the hotel operations start, we have already got all the SOPs, and we have practiced and we are constantly training our colleagues on the new normal. What will be the protocol? What will be the norms that will have to be adhered to? And all of that is in place in terms of personal protective equipment, uh, contactless provisions for sanitization, uh, everything, right from the moment they get picked up from home till they deliver dropped back home. All precautions and measures are in place. And I think hotels have always been one of the safest places to work in, and they will continue to be. Right. So I have a question here. Is that does that answer your question, my friend? Before I move to the next. So this is great here. What precautions will be taken for guest safety as this pandemic? All right. So for as far as guest safety goes, I think first of all, by the time the guest reaches the hotel, he would have gone through so many checks and so many kinds of tests that we would be 99.99% sure that they are already safe, and it will be our responsibility to make sure that they go back safe. Right. So, like I said, the colleagues who are going to be in contact with the guest, the front line and the back of the house, all of us will be following all the precautions and safety norms, guidelines that have been given by the best of minds across the globe, and whatever the brand IHCL as a company issues as guidelines, all that is in place. And I think you can also convey this to your friends and family that hotels are ready, they are prepared, and it is only in our best interest, even as brands, we understand, please, that it is in our best interest to make sure that we follow all the norms and make sure our guests are safe. Because even if there is one case in a hotel, in a building, in an office space, the entire thing shuts down. So we are taking all the precautions, and we'll ensure that the guests are safe.
So this is Manasvi again. I had read somewhere. So this is Manasvi again. I had read somewhere that AC is prohibited from using during this time. So what is the hotel doing? Because it is centrally air conditioned. So how is the hotel being able to use the AC, or they're not using it? What is the scenario, sir?
Okay, good question. Now, again, this varies from hotel to hotel, and let me also say that this guideline of AC is again not. It is being challenged and contradicted many places here and there. It is not a government guideline as of now. There is nothing that proves that the virus is spreading through the AC. They allow AC in the car, so I don't understand how AC in a hotel room is any different. Or in a resort property like ours, the ACs are restricted to the guest rooms, and each guest has the choice of switching on or off the AC in their respective room. Whereas in city hotels, the common areas also, the lobby, the restaurants, everything is on centralized air conditioner. So how many ACs or vents will you shut off? Again, having said that, there are again safety precautions, and there are measures that our chief engineers and experts are guiding us, and we are already following on how to sanitize and service our AC units in a certain manner to ensure that there is no transfer of bacteria or microbes or virus through, or if at all there is any scope or chance of it, it is neutralized in the beginning itself.
There's
So,
just
like
another
I said,
question.
the last slide said necessity is the mother of invention, and there is so much technology or idea, information that was out there in the world, and because of the challenges that we are facing now, suddenly all this information is coming out into the open domain, and we are able to utilize it.
Yes, sir. Coming back to similar question, so if we start social distancing in the restaurants, it will cut down on the capacity or the covers, so that would reduce the revenue. So now, what is going to be the scenario? What is going to be done to tackle the problem?
Uh, yeah, again, to say that we have to initially, that is the norm that, like we said, our guests are going to be safety conscious. They're going to be concerned about, social distancing, because that is what has been, showcased, that that is the best way of precaution to avoid getting infected by the virus. So hotels will have to follow these norms of social distancing, which will impact the capacity or the covers in the restaurant. But also, having said that, the hotel will not look at or will not gain the number of RPDs or room per day immediately that your restaurant would usually, or your hotel would have experienced before the lockdown. So number of rooms also will be less, thus allowing the restaurants to, look at the social distancing norms in terms of the layout. Also, some of the ways that hotels would look at is maybe pre-booking reservation, which were earlier taken. Internationally, it is understood that you will not get a table if you don't have a reservation. But in India, a lot of the guests would just walk in and say that we'll always find a table. There's always space. That may have to change, and guests may actually now be forced to book slots or time slots when they would like to come, and so that a table can be pre-booked, blocked, sanitized, and kept ready for them, thus allowing the restaurants to cater to all. We may also look at increasing the timings of the restaurants from, say, we open only for lunch of 3 hours, maybe look extending it to 4.5 hours, if we need to cater to all the guests. The other trend that we will notice is that majority of the guests would prefer in-room dining in order to avoid coming out and dining in the restaurants. So, if that be the case, then the question of social distancing in restaurants is, as it is reduced, as most of the guests would prefer to maybe even dine initially, at least, till that comfort zone sets in, that they can move out and the other guests in the hotel are also safe.
Thank you so much, sir.
So it says, Sai Prasad is getting to the point. He says, sir, can you explain something about the Taj Management Training Program? What type of students do you hire? What is the eligibility? Well, eligibility is very clear. Good attitude, excellent technical knowledge in terms of the area of interest that you've chosen, uh, good personality, attitude, positive attitude, good attitude. You get the job done. Uh, of course, personality, like I said, be a team worker, and more than after all these things, you should be able to think like a general manager. Are you able to see the holistic picture, the overall gambit, and of course, uh, your attendance, your grooming, your marks, all these things play into perspective. Now, having also said that, many of us think that we will start preparing for the management training program in the last semester or the last 6 months of the college, right? Because first year and second year are all about having a good time. I think you're mistaken. The preparation for the management training program starts from day one, because it's all about attitude. So if you want to become a management trainee, you should have started working on it. And if you haven't, then nothing better than a lockdown to start working on it. What else? Anything else that you would like to ask? Will hotels cut down on hiring new employees? That is going to be a challenge, yes. Uh, I can't really quote directly on that, but it is also, see, you have to look at how many hotels open up and what is the demand. So it will take some time, but let me also assure you that uh, it's a matter of a few months or a year or so that the industry will come back and will start booming, and then the demand will go up, requirements will go up. But this is true across all industries and all companies. It's not just hotels. Uh, Look at airlines, look at cruise, look at manufacturing, automobile. Anywhere you see, it's the same scenario. But another good thing that if you are in touch with the news and what's happening economically in the country and across the world, you will see that this is a great opportunity for India, because on one hand, population is on our side. So having a large population is not always a bad thing, because we have the workforce. The second is the age bracket. We have one of the youngest population in the world, with almost more than 50% or 60% of our population coming in the range of 25 to 35, 40 years old, which is considered pretty young globally. So having this kind of strength is very good in terms of, because there are a lot of companies who are moving away now from China, UK, US, Russia, other countries who have not, though we considered them now developed countries, they have proven that they are not so developed in terms of handling a pandemic or a situation like this. And many of the companies are now looking at moving their base to India, where we have we have the population, we have the age, like I said, and also the educated lot, and of course the skill. So if going forward, if you can look at multi-skilling, you might just have enough job opportunities for yourself. Right. Any other questions? All right. So are there any other questions? If not, then we end the session. Hello.
I think Mr. Khanna, I think they are done with the questions. So it was lovely to hear you, and I'm sure that they also have learned a lot of things from listening to you all, to you, and then things going to be fine as we soon come back with a new frame of mind in the near future. We are still on our process of having our theory classes on. Yes, definitely we are not having our practicals, but then yes, thankful to you all who tell us that students are still getting motivation, and they are working on the same. And hope so things going to be happening the same way as we had before. And I'm sure with your session, they got a lot of things to learn with. Thank you very much, Mr. Khanna.
All right. Thank you. It was a pleasure being
Thank you
here.
very much.
Thank you
Thank you
all.
very
Thank
much.
you for your patience and time.